All right, we're just a couple hours out from a high-stakes meeting that local farmers are keeping a close eye on. This is a live look from China's capital, Beijing, where President Donald Trump is about to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping.
Now, among other topics, they're expected to discuss agricultural trade, including soybeans. So let's give you some context here first.
Yeah, tariffs have hampered trade between the world's two largest economies, especially since ramping up in April of last year. You might remember that's when President Donald Trump announced sweeping global tariffs, including on agricultural imports.
China responded with retaliatory tariffs, followed by weeks of escalation from both countries. So in blue, you can see the U.S. tariffs against China. In red, those are the Chinese tariffs on the U.S. Then in May, they agreed to reduce tariffs for 90 days. That was later extended to November.
And just before that agreement ended, the U.S. and China struck a deal which serves as the basis for this week's negotiations. Soybean purchases are central to that deal, and local farmers now hope to see the two countries expand that even further. The deal includes a commitment from China to buy a certain amount of U.S. soybeans each year through 2028.
For local soybean farmers, this means getting back some of the market share they've lost to other countries. Brazil is the primary competitor. It's the world's largest soybean exporter.
Now, this chart is courtesy of Reuters, and it shows that Brazil's growing share of China's soybean imports. You can see it marked in the light brown. You can see that's coming at a cost to U.S. farmers. Their market share is the dark brown, and that was already dropping before hitting a low last year.
Now, Marshawn Gunn explains what an Illinois farmer wants to see from this week's negotiations.
As a 35-year farmer, Brian Corkill has seen a lot of change.
Technology's been the biggest thing that's changed in my lifetime.
But this year, he says the biggest change is cost, especially for soybeans.
I think it was yesterday that we hit a 2-year high. The cost of seed, the cost of fertilizer, the cost of herbicides, all of our inputs we've seen increases on.
That's on top of a slow export year for soybeans in 2025, in part due to China buying only 15% of its soybeans from the U.S.
They obviously haven't been buying as much from us the last few years. When you lose a customer, it's a lot harder to get them back than it is to keep them.
It didn't affect Corkill this season.
So we typically have around 500 acres. This year we can deal with it, but going into next year it's going to be a lot tougher.
He's hoping China will stand by its commitment from last year to buy 25 million metric tons of soybeans every year through 2028.
I would hope that at the very least we stay status quo.
He doesn't expect a lot of change from Trump's visit to China, but he is hopeful.
Obviously we would want to see that relationship move in the other direction, where we sell more soybeans there, but we don't want to lose any more ground. All my soybeans go to an export market, so there is some concern there.
Corkill and other U.S. farmers are waiting to hear what promises could come out of the president's visit. In Galva, Marshawn Gunn, WQAD News 8.
And this week's negotiations come during a planting season where soybean acreage is expected to be higher than last year. According to USDA data, an estimated 85 million acres will be planted this year, and that's up about 4 million from 2025.
Now, several factors impact this. One of them is crop rotations, but also higher fertilizer costs due to the war in Iran are driving a shift from corn to soybeans. Soybeans need a lot less fertilizer than corn, so they're a more affordable option right now for farmers.